Okay, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is a repetition of the first lecture that we had this course about language. Okay, introduction to linguistics. So I'm just repeating it just to record it. Anyhow, let's just start. Introduction to linguistics, the study of language. أو زي ما احنا بنعرف علم اللغة أو اللسانيات. Okay, this course you will be taking it next semester, inshallah, your first semester in your sophomore year or your second year. Okay, first we'll be taking the outline, what we are going to study in these slides or in these slides. First, we'll be taking the language, its features and components. Then we will like just study a little bit about the science of language, linguistics. Then we will take a little bit about everything. The study of sound, phonetics and phonology, the study of structure, morphology and syntax, the study of meaning, semantics and pragmatics. This outline, it goes to the whole course, right? Not only these slides, I'm sorry. It goes to the whole course. So first we'll be taking the language, its features and components, okay? This is the thing that we are going to discuss right now, language. Then we will move to linguistics. What is linguistics? After that, all right, we will start digging in each type of study. Sound, we will study phonetics, phonetics on its own. Then we will jump to phonology. After that, after we finish, we will go to structure, study of structure, morphology and syntax. After that, we will study meaning, semantics and pragmatics. So this is the whole course until we finish it, inshallah. In these slides, we are going to study what is language, okay, the definition of language, characteristics and facts of language, some main features and facts about language, the ability of patterning and humans with animals. We're not going to take them. We are going to take them in the next lecture. However, in this lecture, we are going to take first and second. What is language and characteristics and facts about language or of language. Okay, first, the definition of language. What do we mean by language? When we say like language, اللغة. إيش قصدنا باللغة? All right. Okay, if we like came to ourselves, like tried to think or to bring like definition about language, the first something like we can notice that it is a communication system, all right? هو نظام تواصل, because we communicate between each other using language. It's like really easy, simple. We all like without language, like we cannot communicate anything, not even our ideas, not even our emotions, words, etc. So language, first of all, it is like communication system. Second, language, it is like you never saw an animal speaks like using Arabic language or even English. No, because we all know that language is specified to humans, right? And that is not only to humans. I mean, like not only animals, but not a creature in the whole world can speak language, because it is something that God, Allah, like gifted to human beings. And it is like something we can consider it as the most brilliant or like amazing gift God, Allah gave us. And right now we will see why. So I think like these are like the most suitable definitions that we can think about. It is a communication system and it is a human, right? Okay, first we have like simple definition, like a definition that anyone can think of, like just by realizing, okay, and reasoning the language, it can think of these, he can or she can think of these definitions. First, language is what makes us humans. Yeah, I mentioned, because language is only special, or maybe like the only creature that own the language is or are humans. Second thing, language gives words to our thoughts, voice to our ideas, and expression to our feelings. So this here we mean like it is a system of communication, because like we can communicate, right, thoughts, because language, it is the thing that gives words to our thought. And even it is the thoughts, the language, it is the thoughts itself, because like we cannot think without using language, right? Even we like when we have this idea in our mind, like we cannot think of it, because in the end, when we think, we use also our language. It gives voice to our ideas, all right, and expression to our feelings. So here we mean it is like a communication system. It is a human ability, an ability what that we can use effortlessly and that children seem to acquire automatically. Okay, like if you came to yourself and think like, how do I use language? Like you can see or you can observe and notice that you use language without any effort made, right? You don't make any effort. No, you just like pronounce these words or sounds. Like you are not efforting yourself. Like there is no hardship. That's no. You you produce utterances, you produce sentences, you make or create a whole conversations effortlessly without any effort. And children, yeah, they learn their first language, okay, their tongue language or their mother language automatically, all right, just by listening to their parents or the society they are living in. So there is no hardship, there is no effort. No, you just learn it automatically, right? And like you pronounce it, then you use it day by day effortlessly without any effort. This is something like this is the greatest thing for me. Like Allah, this is the greatest thing that Allah like gave it to us, the language, this great ability. Okay, that even I think يعني Allah said in Quran لما ربنا تعالى حكم في القرآن وإذ قلنا للملائكة اسجدوا لآدم فسجدوا إلا إبليس لا وعلم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وعلم آدم الأسماء كلها ثم عرضهم على الملائكة فقال أنبئوني بأسماء هؤلاء إن كنتم صادقين. Okay, so like he taught Adam the names of all things, right? So here like we see that Adam is like a creature that can learn, okay, that can be taught as well as us. So Allah, he taught him the names of all things. And then like he brought these things and like he said to angels, if you think that you are right, because like before they said that why do you want to create man, put it like a khalifa on earth, like you have us that we praise you, right? So he brought the angels and like he told them like name me these things if you are right. And the angels replied to him قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. So here like we can realize and recognize that angels, even when they are angels, okay, these like brilliant creatures, like they don't have the ability to name things. They don't have language. Yeah, they communicate with each other, like they praise God, but at the end they don't have language, right? Because they admit it by themselves. قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا. So no, we don't have like this language. Like we don't have this ability. Like we don't have this knowledge. And when Allah said to Adam, okay, قال يا آدم أنبئهم بأسمائهم فلما أنبأهم بأسمائهم. Okay, so then after that, like Allah came and like said to Adam, name these things. And like we see how this thing is trivial to human beings. This something is really like simple. Like we don't even like think about it. We don't even pay any attention, any small attention to it. Like he told Adam, قال يا آدم okay أنبئهم بأسمائهم. فلما أنبأهم يعني عملية بسيطة جدا تافهة احنا بالنسبة لنا ما بندري لها بال اصلا انه قال يا ادم انبئهم باسمائهم فلما انبأهم عادي يعني ايش هذه يا ادم هذه مثلا طاولة هذا كرسي إنه تسمية الحاجات ان احنا حاجة trivial حاجة تافهة جدا بسيطة. And on the other side angels themselves they couldn't name things but we as humans because God gave us this great ability this great gift language like yes we can name things we can think we can communicate with each other we can create new utterances we can write novels we can write history we can write any kind of science we know in the whole world. So yes, it is like a great ability to talk about. And if we like talk about it from here, like for 100 years, we will not end because it is like the greatest gift that Allah ever gave us. So these are back to our slides, right? These are the symbol definitions, okay? Right now we'll have like some scientific definitions. Okay, we have Naum Chomsky. He said, language is a finite or infinite set of sentences, each finite in length and constructed out of a finite set of elements. Finite, okay, معناها محدود. Infinite معناها لا محيان. عدد لا نهائي. So he says that language is a finite or infinite set of sentences. Okay, right now, like you will think like how language is finite and how language is infinite at the same time. We will explain this, okay? Each finite in length and constructed out of a finite set of elements. So like maybe like here like it is finite in length. Okay, محدود انه بطوله السنتنس ما بتقدر تكون طويله كثير. No, محدوده هي. Constructed of a finite set. Okay, we will be focusing on this. Constructed out of a finite set of elements. So each sentence, it has a finite set of elements. Even like if you like think about it, if you brought any word in the whole English, at the end, you will create it using the 27 letters that you will find in English system, right? You cannot create a word with using more than 27 letters, right? Or using not more, but any letter out of these like 27. So we have like these 27 letters, like we create a tremendous number of utterances and sentences. Language is primarily human and non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of a system of voluntarily produced symbols. Edward Spear. All right. I think it is obvious. Like he says, language is human. Yes, we said this before. And focus on this, non-instinctive. So when we say non-instinctive, we mean it is something like it is not born with us. Instinctive معناها إشي غريزي, right? أو إشي مورث. غريزي. إنه بنولد معنا. So non-instinctive معناها إنه هي ليست غريزية. حاجة ما إحنا ما متورثة منها. No. It is something that we learn, we acquire, right? And it is communication a system, okay, communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of a system voluntarily produced symbols. So we can understand that language is human, it is not instinctive, it is acquired, it is a method of communicating, okay, and it is finite and infinite. All right, I think like we finished all the definitions. Like here are the most like famous and suitable definitions, but like you can understand them easily because like they are really simple. Although they are scientific definitions, but yeah, they are kind of simple. Right now, we will be talking about features and facts about language. All right. First, we will have some facts. All right, I tried like to explain them using simple words, right? Like replacing the hard ones using simple. So we have a fact and we have like its meaning in more simple way. First, language is an essential and ubiquitous component of our lives. Okay, when we say an essential, we know what essential means. It means like it is really important. Ubiquitous, maybe this word is like something new, but ubiquitous, it means that everybody uses, all right? So when we say language is an essential and ubiquitous component of our lives, we mean that language is an important and a component of our lives that everybody uses. And this is true. Every person on earth, a human, uses language. So it is a ubiquitous component. Language is the primary medium which we use to interact with people and institutions in our society. Okay, this is another fact. Like we mean by it that language is the primary tool or the main tool, the major tool that we use to communicate with people and society. Primary, it means like it is the major, the main. Medium here, medium, we mean that it is the tool that we use to talk and communicate with each other, societies, the world, and with each other as friends or families, okay, as human beings. Language is the principal means by which societies are constructed and cultures are developed. Okay, how this comes? When we say like it is the principal means, I mean, like it is the most important something, the most important tool for societies to be constructed. How language is the main tool to construct and develop cultures and societies. Okay, it is really easy. I mean, like if you go to America, if you find a person, you call him an American person, right? Why do we call him an American? Because he speaks American language or maybe the American accent, right? But at the end, it is a language by itself. And even like if you went to like maybe to Italy or Germany, you call this person an Italian person, right? That he has like an Italian nationality. He lives in Italy. Why do you call him an Italian person? Because he can speak the Italian language, right? This person can speak the Germanian language. That person can speak the Russian language. This person can speak the English language or the British language. So we call him an Englishman because like he has this English language. And even in the Middle East, they call us the Arabs. Why do they call us the Arabs? Because like we can speak Arabic language. So because of that, each society is constructed, right, and developed, right? Developed, we will come to this right now, but is constructed because he has a language. I mean, like if you don't have a language, what we will call you? You don't have like this identity, right? I think we will come to this in the next slides, but language is your identity. If you don't have a language, I'm sorry, but you are losing your identity because identity means the language itself. Whenever you have a language, you have your identity. Without a language, you don't have an identity, right? So this is the way how societies are constructed by language, because each society is referred to its or to his language. Cultures are developed. We all know, like I'm really sure that you studied Introduction to Literature, English literature, and you know that we have the Anglo-Saxons, or before even the Anglo-Saxons. Yeah, like they have a language, a primitive language, not a primitive, like a new language. Before we called it English, like we have this language. The language that these people were talking or like using to communicate with each other, it was really, really much different from the language that we use in these days. I mean, like English at the old time, or even Old English language, of course, you studied Old English language. It differs from the language that we use today. Even Shakespeare, okay, himself, he was using a language that differs from the language that we use these days. So with developing, right, the language, the culture develops itself. So here we have like, yeah, the language is the thing that constructs the societies, and it is the things that develops the cultures. Because whenever the language develops, it means that the society, the culture, I mean, like whenever the language develops, it means that the culture is developing, right? First, we have like the Old English, the people were not that developing. But when the language developed, right, and when Shakespeare like Rose and Christopher Marlowe and like John Donne, etc., like we have this the Victorian era. I mean like the Elizabethan era, and what it was like the top era from in Britain. So yeah, language, it develops cultures. Language is the main tool by which societies are built and cultures are developed. Language is an essential part both of our own life and of who we are as humankind. Okay, our own life between humans, and as we have just said, language, it is something that God, Allah, gave to humans, not to anything else, not to any creature. So yes, language is an essential part because we use it to communicate between each other as humans. We use it to think. We use it to do our homework. We use it like to name things. We use it to read. We use it to play on our phones. We use it in everything, every single thing in our lives. So it is an essential part. It is an important part in our life. Without it, there is no life. I mean, like, think about it for a second. Without language, you cannot live, because everything in your life depends on the language. I mean, like when you wake up from your sleep, the first thing you think, all right, even your thinking process, use language. All right, right now I'm going to wash my face. I'm going to the kitchen. I'm gonna have my breakfast. Then I will prepare myself to the university. I'm going to the university. You walk on the street and you start like to see trees, to see the street, to play in your phone. And each step, each part of this like thinking process, you use language. Okay, the second thing of who we are as humankind, this differs us from animals, because humankind, they have language, but animals, they don't have language, right? Like for cats, they mew all the time. We don't know what they are saying, but we literally, and we like can understand that they don't have language. Yes, they communicate with each other, but still, they don't have a language. They are only making sounds, not like us. Like we can create novels. We can talk about things that no one ever talked about. So yes, it differs us from animals, and as humans, we can communicate with each other using it. Okay, right now we'll be talking about some features of language. Just 1 second. We have some features of language. We will be taking 11. A means of communication, arbitrary, systematic, reflexivity for humans, a form of social behavior, a symbol system, vocal, productivity, semanticity, and interchangeability. These are the 7 elements or features that we'll be focusing on these slides. There are more features, but right now we'll be only talking about these ones, right? So we'll be taking them one by one, and like we will try to explain them, okay, explicitly. First, we have a means of communication. A means of communication, I think I explained this before. People can communicate their ideas, emotions, beliefs, or feelings to each other as they share a common code that makes up the language. Language is an important form of communication between humans that is difficult to think of a society without language. I think we talked about this and we discussed it. Because yeah, people use language in everything in their life, right? They use language in everything in their life. to communicate ideas, emotion, beliefs, feelings, and they use it like to talk with each other, to everything, because they share this common code. Like they can produce words and they can recognize words and receive words. So they can understand, comprehend, and they like can produce words. So this is the communication system. Like someone gives and the other part receives, and then this other part he gives and the first part receives. So this is the way, this is the common code that these two people who can communicate, each one is able to receive and give. So here, like we create a conversation. Here we have this communication process. Language is an important form of communication between humans that is difficult to think of a society without language. I think we talked about this. Language is your identity. You don't have a language, you don't have an identity, because language is the thing that we use it to refer to you. If you speak Arabic, we call you an Arab or an Arabic person. If you speak English, we call you an English person. You don't have a language, right? You don't speak any language, we cannot refer to you. We will only like refer to you as a human. But with language, yes, you have an identity. Without language, you are not. There is a difficulty in thinking about this. Okay, it is difficult to think of a society without language. Arbitrary, okay, like I think right now, maybe you noticed that we have arbitrary, second, and third, we have systematic. Okay, arbitrary means random, like, all right, يعني عشوائية. Systematic معناها نظامية. Okay, like how comes the language can be arbitrary اللي هي عشوائية and in the same time it is systematic. بنفس الوقت هي حاجة نظامية انه هي بتتبع قواعد. كيف هي عشوائية برضه نظامية بنفس الوقت. خلينا نشوف. Arbitrary, okay, when we say arbitrary, we mean that there is no inherent relation between the words of a language and their meanings or the ideas conveyed by them. For example, dog in English is hunt in German and perro in Spanish. Even like if you want to think about it by yourself, it is like a kind of philosophical process. I mean, like if you brought a pencil, okay, like this in language, when you take this in your third year in the syntax and semantics module, we have this something called the reference, okay, المرجعية يعني. We have two things or even three things: the way of referring, طريقة المرجعية, and we have the referring expression and the object. Okay, the referring expression is something like that we use, that we pronounce, اللي هو الحاجة اللي احنا بنفوق. And we have the object. We all know what is object, اللي هو الأداة أو الحاجة احنا بدنا نرجع لها. So we have this pencil, this wooden piece of something that has مش عارف ايش معنى رصاص بس في حاجة رصاص جواته. Okay. So what is the relation? What is the relation between this object اللي هو القلم الرصاص, okay, هذا الحاجة الخشبية اللي فيها الرصاص, and the word pencil? I mean, who gave it this name? Who gave pencil its real name, pencil? Who gave this wooden piece its name? The bottle. If you bring this plastic something that has like we put water inside it, why do we call it a bottle? Why like we didn't call it maybe like a glass or maybe a phone? Why do we call it a bottle? Why do we call our mobile phones, why do we call them phones? Why like we couldn't like name them maybe like a pencil? يعني احنا مثلا لو جبنا الجوال ليش احنا بنسميه فون؟ ليش ما نسميه مثلا بنسل؟ وين المشكله؟ فهنا بتكمن انه اللغه هي عشوائيه. طريقه تسميه الحاجات الاوبجكتس ما في إلهن منطق. ما في حاجه بتربط بين الجوال، اوكي، هذه الالكترونيات اللي جوا مع الشاشه والكاميرا الى اخ، ما في حاجه بتربط هذا الاوبجكت بكلمه فون او كلمه موبايل فون. ما في حاجه. قنينه الماء، هذا الحاجه البلاستيكيه اللي في لها سده من فوق، ما في حاجه بتربط هذا الاوبجكت قنينه الماء بالكلمه bottle. There's no inherent. Inherent معناها علاقه متاصله. okay, between the word and their meanings, between هذه الكلمة وهذا المعنى تاعها هي الأوبجكت، ما في علاقة. حتى ال conveyed ideas، مثلا كلمة مشكلة. What do we mean by كلمة when we say a problem, we mean that like this hardship in like solving something, like we have this issue in our life. So why do we call this a problem? Like why we couldn't like call it an idea? Okay, ليش احنا ما حكينا عن هذه الحاجة المعضلة اللي بتصير في حياتنا، مثلا حكينا عنها هذه فكرة، ما حكينا عنها مشكلة، وعكسنا الشيء. الحاجة اللي احنا بتجي لنا بعقلنا هيك وبتكون حاجة إيجابية، بتكون شيء يعني احنا ممكن نستفيد منه، ما سميناها مثلا مشكلة، سميناها فكرة. ليش where is the relation between the object, okay, or the ideas and their words and meanings? Where is there is no inherent relationship, and here lies the arbitrary. ما في علاقة وطيدة بين الأداة والكلمة تاعتها. Okay, ما في علاقة. And even we can see this in the words like dog. We call this to this creature, okay, like has tail and has like ears and like dog. So in English we call it dog, in German we call it a hunt, in Spanish we call it perro. So there is no inherent relationship. Each language names each object by itself. Okay, systematic, when we say the language is also systematic, we here mean about grammar. Okay, we here are talking about grammar because language is not a chaotic. هي حاجة مش يعني هيك فوضوية. Okay, combination of sounds, yet sounds are arranged in a certain fixed or established systematic order to form meaningful units or words. So whenever, okay, and each after that, similarly, words are also arranged in a particular system. Okay, so whenever you want like to create a word, like we have like these affixes, suffixes, and prefixes, and we all know that the prefix we put it at the beginning, the suffix we put it at the end. Like you cannot replace these. Like here we have the word unjustifiable. Like we cannot say able, justify, un. No, you have to say unjustifiable. The suffix at the end, the prefix at first, at the beginning. So this is how language is systematic. You have to follow a specific order. Words are produced by like arranging the sounds by a fixed and established systematic way to give meaningful words and units. The sentences, whenever you want to create a sentence, we all know that like you have to put the subject and then the verb. Before the subject, you can have an article or a determiner. Okay, after the verb, you can have a complement. You cannot replace this. Like if you want to say the dog is parking, okay, you cannot say parking like me parking the dog is. No. Or maybe like you cannot say is parking dog the. No, you have to say the dog is parking, because this is the systematic way. This is the way that we all know. This is the rules of language. Because of this, language is systematic, okay? Because we follow specific rules in arranging and establishing, okay, meaningful units and words, and even sentences. So this is what we mean by language is systematic. So it is arbitrary and it is systematic in the same way. Reflexivity, this is the most simple feature. When we say reflexivity, we mean that language, we use language to reflect or to refer to language itself, right? So we know that language has words and utterances and sentences and sounds. Still, we use these sounds and sentences and words to talk about language itself. Okay, the fact that we can use language to think and talk about language itself. One of the most distinguishing features of human language. Without this general ability, we couldn't be able to reflect on or identify any of the other properties of human language. So right now we are discussing systematic, we're discussing arbitrary, and we're discussing a means of communication, right? Okay, if we don't have a language, we will not be able to say any of these things because we don't have a language. So we will not be able to say systematic, language is systematic. And even we will not be able to say the word language itself because we don't have this ability. But with language, this great ability, we can reflect language itself. We can talk about language itself. اوكي هي معناها اللي هو يمكن الانعكاسيه اللي احنا بنقدر نحكي باللغه. احنا عندنا اللغه وبنقدر نحكي عن اللغه هذه نفسها. انه English مثلا has grammar. English has these kind of vocabularies blah 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 and English follows these rules blah blah blah. So this is the meaning of reflexivity. For humans, I think like we talked about this a lot of times, it differs from animal communication in several ways. Okay, animals, they don't have a language. They have a communication system. هو نظام تواصل لكن هو ليس بلغة. اللغة هي حاجة متطورة جدا. Communication system, like they have like these small number of sounds. Still, they don't have a language. So one of the main features of language that it has is for humans only. Humans convey and receive an infinite number of messages through space, whereas animal communication system is extremely limited and undeveloped. Okay, infinite number of messages. I think I explained this before. Like we only have, I think, 27 or 28 letters in English. Yet with these letters we can create an infinite عدد لا نهائي من الجمل باستخدام هذول فقط 27 حرف. In other words, language is only for humans, right? It is not for animals. It is not for any other creature. So I think we explained this a lot of times. I'm not going to like stay long in this slide because I talked about this. A form of social behavior. We acquire our first language as children in a society. We all know this. So when we say a form of social behavior, we mean like you have to learn language, right? Language is not something that like you inherit from your parents. No. You learn it and you acquire it. And we all know we as children, we first acquired our first language from our society, from our parents, from our like maybe relatives, our neighbors. Language has to be learned in a society. A human child learns to speak the language of the community, of the group in which he is placed. All right, right now I think it will become really easy because when we say a form of social behavior, if you brought like if you have like a newborn child, خلينا مثلا نفرض احنا مثلا عندنا طفل مولود جديد مثلا من غزة واخذناه من هو صغير ودينا على امريكا. Although he is a Palestinian child that he is born in Palestine and like Palestinian people, right? They speak Arabic language, right? So maybe if we put him in America, he will like still speak Arabic language. No, because we don't inherit our language. No, we have to acquire it. So if you brought this child, this Arabic speaking child, and put him in America from his childhood, he will speak English because he will acquire the language that the society he is put into. All right? بسيطة جدا. احنا جبنا مثلا طفل من امريكا وحطيناه مثلا في اي دوله عربيه حيعيش وحيكبر وهو بيعرف اللغه العربيه لانه هو انحط في مجتمع بيحكي اللغه العربيه فحيتعلمها. وعكس كذلك vice versa if we brought a person or a child from رجع كلمه طفل اوكي انه مش شخص اوكي حتى الشخص البالغ ممكن يتعلم لكن بمعنى اخر ان اللغه هي حاجه acquired هي حاجه لازم احنا نكتسبها مكتسبه وليست مورثه ليست حاجه غريزيه. A language is passed on from one generation to the next. Humans are not born with the ability to produce utterances in a specific language. I think I'm mentioning this again and again. In the language, we have to acquire it, right? We have to learn it. And we are not passing our language through like from generation to generation. يعني مش مثلا عشان مثلا انت انولدت في غزة خلاص لازم تحكي اللغة العربية. لا، لو احنا مثلا اخذناك مثلا حطيناك مثلا في ألمانيا you will learn the Germanic language. هتتعلم اللغة الألمانية ببساطة لأنك أنت انحطيت في مجتمع بيحكي اللغة هذه. فاللغة ليست حاجة مورثة أو حاجة مثلا احنا بنكتسبها من احنا صغار على طول، من اول ما نولد نقدر نحكي، لا احنا لازم نتعلمها شويه شويه مرجعيا للمجتمع اللي احنا حطينا فيه. اوكي. Because of that, if you have two different parents from the two different nationalities, okay, like I know a lot of friends that their parents, their father is an Arabic person, but their mother like is a foreigner. She is a foreigner. هي من دول أجنبية. So he rose up with the ability to speak two languages, Arabic and like another language, maybe like Russian or maybe the Germanic language or the Italian language. فهو عشانه اوكي المجتمع اللي انحط فيه بيحكي لغتين، لغه الوالد هو مثلا اللغه العربيه، والمجتمع اللي هو انحط فيه بيحكي لغه المجتمع اللي هو عايش فيه. مثلا هو مثلا عايش في روسيا، فالمجتمع اللي هو عايش فيه حيكون بيحكي اللغه الروسيه، فهو هيتعلم لغتين مع بعض، اللغه الروسيه واللغه العربيه. right? So yeah, it is a form of social behavior. A simple system, okay? A simple system. When we say a simple, we mean like it is a concrete event, object, or mark that stands for something relatively abstract. ما احنا نقصد الرمز او اي حدث صار. Okay, like maybe this mark, okay, هذا المارك احنا اكيد من اول ما نشوفه اللي هو الصليب على طول نتخيل المسيح، نتخيل الديانه المسيحيه، نتخيل مثلا صاحبنا المسيحي، نتخيل مثلا all these things came only by looking to a simple system. I mean a simple symbol. Okay, الرمز فقط. من اول ما طلعت على الرمز كل هذول الحاجات اجوا في بالي. So because of this we call it a simple system, because like it brings a lot of things, a lot of thoughts by only looking to a symbol, right? And even when we look to Hamdallah, we know that it means the Palestinian identity and defiance، اللي هو رمز لايش؟ للثورة الفلسطينية والصمود الفلسطيني. Okay, so this is what do we mean by it? Like it is a symbol system. Even الانتفاضة بنحكي هذا event, right? We said like event, object or mark. مثلا احنا مثلا حنظلة هو object، الصليب هو mark هو رمز، والايفنت مثلا الانتفاضة. مجرد مثلا ما احكي كلمة انتفاضة بيجي مثلا في بالنا مثلا المقاومة والفلسطينية والثورة الفلسطينية والنضال الفلسطيني إلى آخره. language it is a symbol system. Like even with only one event, one object, or one mark, like we can relate to a lot of things. Vocal, okay, this is easy because language it is a vocal system, and I think you took this in your literature course. Kadam and Hem. Okay, I think you all know Kadam and Hem. It is the first prize to God, right? From a person called Kadiman. And if you remember, he sang it, right? He sang it. He didn't wrote it. No, he sang it. فهو غناها. For language first, it appeared as vocal sounds. Language is primarily made up of vocal sounds. It have appeared as vocal sounds only. Writing came much later. And we also know that after he sang it, like what do you call these people? Mission nuns, اللي هم بتوع الكنيسة, and they came and wrote this. But after years, they came and like they create words, they create letters, and like they wrote this song. But first, language was a vocal. It was only vocal sounds. It was a vocal system. There were no written forms. So yes, language is a vocal system. Productivity, language users can understand and create never before heard utterances. Infinite. This is what do we mean by infinite? Okay, because like right now, while you are sitting, like you can create a sentence that no one before you ever wrote. كان انت مكانك تكتب جمله ما حد قبل هيك كتب. right? Productivity. And you can like write novels, write books, write stories no one ever tried to write, no one ever thought about, not even Shakespeare himself. So language has this feature of productivity، هي الإنتاجية. احنا لو كان ننتج ونكتب ونعمل حاجات ما حدا قبل هيك سواها using the language، باستخدام اللغة. Language, right? And they even can understand and create never before addresses. Okay. I'll be relating to some Arabic examples. Okay. Like we have as humans, as human beings, like we have this ability to create addresses. Like مثلا باللغة العربية عندنا مثلا كلمة نصكم، عندنا كلمة مثلا صلاة التراويح، عندنا كلمة أو مثلا اللي هو كلمة السنة، كي صلاة السنة، أو كلمة مثلا اللي طلعت جديدة سكرين شوت. Okay. We as Arabic people, if you came and you said to your friend نصكمت، okay, شايفك منصكم. Okay, this is يعني a sentence no one ever heard before، ما حد قبل هيك سمعها. لكن احنا كبني ادمين كبني ادم بامكاننا نخترع كلمات وحاجات ما حد قبل هيك عملها، ورغم ذلك احنا بامكاننا نفهمها. right? We can understand and we even can create. حتى لو انت لحالك اخترعت كلمه جديده زي مثلا كلمه مش عارف anything like if مثلا خلينا مثلا نفرض انه مثلا كلمه نصكمت هي كلمه جديده وحكيتها مثلا لصاحبك اللي ولا عمره سمعها، هيفهمها لحاله، هيعرف انه نصكمت جاي من كلمه نصكم، فنصكمت معناها انت لابس نصكم. تمام. and even تروحت، هل صليت التراويح؟ حوقلت، هل حكيت لا حول ولا قوه الا بالله؟ سننت، صليت السنه. سكرن لي، اعمل لي سكرين شوت. ثني، خذ لك كمان مثلا صينيه دجاج مثلا. زرر، اعمل زر القميص. تحكمت، رحت عند حكيم. قبلت، اوكي، رحت على اتجاه القبله. اوكي. شملت، روح شمال. اوكي. all these words they reflect, okay, the ability, the great ability of productivity that only humans can use, only humans can produce. Because like we have this great ability to understand new sentences and create also never before heard utterances. Okay. This is what do we mean by infinite. We as humans, we can create an infinite number of sentences each and every single day. Semanticity, when we say semanticity, semantics معناها علم المعاني. تمام. semantics فهي جايه من كلمه semantics. semantics معناها علم المعاني. فsemanticity معناها ان احنا بنقدر لكل كلمه نعطيها معنى. Okay. Specific objects can be matched with specific meanings. Words have meanings, right? كل حاجه في اللغه إلها كلمه. مثلا حتى مثلا حاجات بتطلع جديده، كلينكس مثلا. اوكي. جوجل مثلا، يعني اكثر مثال شائع انه جوجل مثلا ما له كثير طالع، لكن احنا حكينا له جوجل. اوكي. سكرين شوت، هذه برضه كلمه جديده ما كانت موجوده قبل هيك. what do we have else؟ الايفون، كلمه ايفون مثلا I think it's only came out in 2008 because it is the time when iPhone was released. So we have a lot of things that only human can produce and make. هو semanticity مثلا انه each object has its meaning. So don't forget اللي هي arbitrary. Each object, okay, has a meaning, yes, but still there is no relationship between this meaning and this object. Okay, ما في علاقة وطيدة، ما في علاقة متأصلة بين الكلمة والأداة تاعتها. Okay. Okay, interchangeability, it refers to the ability of individuals to both transmit and receive messages. Okay, I think I said this, and I think communication. Yeah, I said this is the thing that makes us humans. This is the thing. We call it the communication process. The interchangeability. معناها اللي هو I don't know what's meaning in Arabic, بس معناها إنه أنا بقدر أعطي وبقدر أستقبل. Okay, so individual humans they both can transmit اللي هو بنقله receive messages وبيستقبلوا رسائل كمان. So we have this ability, like we can transmit and receive. And by this great ability, we can create conversations or conversations, not conversations. Each individual human can both produce messages by speaking or singing and comprehend the messages, understand these messages of others by listening or watching. I think this is, it is obvious. Like we as humans, like we can talk and also we can listen. We can read and also we can write. So yeah, humans, like they have this, our language, it has this feature, the interchangeability. Like I talk to you and you talk to me, and I listen to you and you listen to me. And here we have like a conversation. I think it's clear. Even if you read the slide without my explanation, you will understand it by yourself because it is really obvious. It's a self-study slide. And here we reach that duality of patterning. Okay, I think we are finished right now. We are finishing, guys. So I think this is all clear. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to help you. Feel free to send me anything, any question, any issue, anything that you couldn't like get. Just feel free. I'll be more than happy to help you. And thank you and have a good day.